Quinn and Valor are an elite ranger team. With crossbow and claw, they undertake the nation's most dangerous missions deep within enemy territory, from swift resonance to lethal strikes. The pair's unbreakable bond is deadly on the battlefield, leaving opponents blind and riddled with arrows long before they realize who they're fighting. Not one, but two Demacian legends. Hold on a minute. Let me just throw my 2 cents in here. So, I just wanted to make a few comments about how I think that Valor and Quinn work or don't work together. Quinn is a champion on her own. Valor is just a side story. I mean, she does not need Valor, and that was really disappointing to me when she came out. I think that they should have had way more of a connection. I had the interpretation when I read about her coming out that it would have been like a Beastmaster and her pet kind of relationship, where you could, depending on the ability, control Valor, or he might go and attack when you're attacking, kind of like the same way Lulu's pet works, but obviously maybe you would have more control over him, like I said before, based on certain abilities. But it was really disappointing. I feel as though Quinn and more turns into Valor, as opposed to them working together. It's more like she's a bird lady and becomes a bird and has birds coming down from the heavens to put a mark on champions or minions, and it doesn't really give you that connection. There's like her W, for example, where she can see, it reveals enemies in an area. That should have been where you can control Valor and go and look into the bushes or look into the jungle, and it'll reveal champions in the area. Or also it could have been perhaps like the same way Twin Shadows works, where you use the item and the 2 spirits go wandering through the forest and find an enemy and hits them and slows them down. Valor could have worked like that, the same way. At least Valor would have a purpose, as opposed to, like I said, coming out and just hitting the enemies, or not hitting the enemies, putting a mark on them, or apparently he revealed a large area of enemies nearby. How does a bird do that? Like, let's be real. Does a bird randomly just be like, "Wah!" and then there's area reveal? No, birds don't do that. Birds are not that cool. I'm sorry, it's just doesn't work that way. Her vault, for example, that's just like some crazy Haya move where she jumps towards you, slows you, and then she jumps back. She doesn't need a bird for that. The bird is not lifting her up and throwing and like bringing her anywhere. No, this is some crazy gymnastics she's doing by herself, and Valor does not make her do that any better or any worse. Her alt, tag team? No, nobody's tag teaming anyone. She turns into a bird and throws arrows everywhere, even though she uses a crossbow. It has nothing to do with Valor. Valor does not replace her. No, she turns into him. She's a bird lady. They should have just made her a bird lady. That's it. I've decided she is a bird lady. She does not have a little friend. Maybe she does and she thinks she does and she's crazy and has schizophrenia or something like that. No. Sorry, no. As a young girl, Quinn shared a hunger for adventure with her twin brother. They dreamed of becoming knights, but lived a quiet, humble life in the rural borderlands of Demacia. Together they imagined triumphant battles in faraway lands, seizing glory for their king and slaying foes in the name of Demacian justice. When daydreams alone could no longer satisfy their warrior souls, they embarked on daring wilderness adventures in search of true danger. One such quest turned to tragedy when a terrible accident claimed her brother's life. Overcome with grief, Quinn abandoned her dreams of knighthood. On the anniversary of her loss, Quinn gathered the courage to return to the scene of the tragedy. To her surprise, she found a wounded Demacian eagle at the site of her brother's death, a rare and beautiful bird, long believed extinct. Quinn nursed the fledgling back to health, and as they grew together, a deep bond formed between the two. She saw the same qualities in her newfound friend that had lived within her brother, and so she gave him the name Valor. The pair found strength in each other, and together they pursued the dream she had once abandoned. The Demacian army had never seen heroes like Quinn and Valor. Their deadly skills quickly set them apart from the rank and file peers, but many still have their doubts. So, this whole brother dying thing, Mr. Caleb, what's up with that? I've heard very many versions and interpretations of what people believe happened with her brother and stuff like that. They really didn't give us much information about that. Not even where he died, how he died, if he would. It was an accident, that's all that they tell you, but did he fall off a cliff? It could be like some crazy Lord of the Rings thing, you know, in, I believe it's Twin Towers. Wait, Twin Towers, or is it the King? Return of the King. I think it's Return of the King, actually, where Aragorn falls off cliff, and they're all like, oh my god, he's dead, and then they're all like, no, I'm not, I did not die, I landed in water, and I came back to life. You know, it might be like something like that, so it would have been great if they had let us know. But I think they left it a gray area for a reason. I think that they wanted us to sit here and think and wonder if maybe, you know, maybe, like I've heard they think Talon might be her brother because he doesn't have any memory of his childhood and stuff like that. I don't think so, but I feel like people are just relating her to Talon because he has no past and he wears purple. Like, I know, and also because based on her journal entries, it talks about her hunting an assassin, and the kingdom thinks it's Talon who's doing some killings, and she's like, no, it's not Talon, that's too sloppy, that's too, like, the place that they found him is, or think that he is too obvious, it can't be Talon. Maybe she just does her research, maybe she's just smart. She's a smart girl, she's just like, that ain't Talon. Talon ain't that sloppy. Talon is not. Because he's like a good assassin. The guy's been like a pickpocketer, like a thief for like his entire life. You think he's just all of a sudden gonna start murdering people and leaving it all over the place? I mean, granted, I don't know how his past murders went on. I don't know what his work is like. But, you know, like maybe she just does her research. She wants to prove herself to these people. She wants to be a hero with her and her little bird that I decided does not need to be there. So I really don't think that Talon is her brother. I think that they left it gray so that they could either perhaps eventually release a champion of that kid that potentially either be Caleb or be a dark version of Caleb, or maybe it could be a Demacian version of Caleb. It could be a good guy, and maybe some poor woman found him and raised him to be a warrior or something like that, that found him after he fell off the cliff, or who knows, because we don't know what happened. But you know, I think, or maybe she is linked to somebody else, but they could throw you throw you for a wild one and make her related to somebody that you would never have expected. I really don't think it's Talon though. It just really doesn't make any sense to me. It sounds like even if Talon doesn't remember his childhood based on from what I've read by his lore, I kind of feel like he had been an assassin for his entire life. Like he had been learning about blades and like using knives and fighting like that. Whereas it seemed like Quinn and her brother just longed for adventure. They just went out adventuring all the time. They didn't have any kind of training or anything like that. I'm sure Talon was trained from the get-go. Like he was given, his mother gave birth to him and he started training or something like that for him to have been such a elite assassin. I'm sure that they'll release further lore in order to touch on that more, but maybe they just wanted Quinn's brother's spirit to live through Valor. That was the entire point of her going back to that place and finding Valor there, was for him to be like a reincarnation and a beautiful thing that she gets to bond with this bird who has the same spirit as her brother Caleb. You know, and maybe that's just a nice little peaceful thing and they just wanted to kind of end it at that. Maybe there is no relation. Maybe her brother just really did unfortunately pass away and now she has a bird that doesn't help her at all in battle, that doesn't need to be there, and it's kind of pointless. Yeah. How can a common-born girl, even with such a powerful creature at her side, forego years of military training? Quinn and Valor proved themselves on one critical mission, tracking down a Noxian assassin who had evaded an entire Demacian battalion. When they brought him to justice, they finally earned the admiration and respect of their nation. The two now serve as living, fighting icons of the Demacian strength and perseverance. Together, Quinn and Valor will stand against any threat to their beloved home. Well, that concludes my first episode of More on the Lore featuring Quinn. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. This is Akillaah, and I hope to see you all in the field of justice, summoners. See you later!